The following program and contents, including the views and opinions expressed by the host and any guest speakers, are solely for informational and entertainment purposes. The views and opinions expressed are not endorsed or supported by Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, their employees, affiliates, or advertisers. The host and guest speakers are solely responsible for their own perspectives, and their views do not reflect those of Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, their employees, affiliates, or advertisers. The information provided in this program should not be considered as professional advice or as a substitute for professional consultation. Listeners and viewers are encouraged to form their own opinions and seek independent advice when necessary. Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, their employees, affiliates, and advertisers hereby disclaim any liability for any claims, damages, or losses incurred as a result of the information presented in this program.
Welcome to Mission Evolution Radio Show with Gwilda Wiyaka, bringing together today's leading experts to uncover ever-deepening spiritual truths and the latest scientific developments in support of the evolution of humankind. For more information on Mission Evolution Radio with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit www.missionevolution.org. And now, here's the host of Mission Evolution, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
Are we the only intelligent life in the universe? According to statistics, that is impossible. If someone else is out there, are they trying to speak to us? If so, what do they have to share? Are you curious? Well, stay tuned as our guest this hour claims to be in contact with galactic and intergalactic cultures. Mission Evolution Radio TV show is coming to you on the X Zone Broadcast Network and the X Zone TV channel, divisions of Relmar McConnell Media Company, with studios and corporate offices in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada. With us this hour to consider mysterious messages on planetary evolution is Thomas Valentino. Lou is an astrologer, musician, author, and has practiced meditation twice a day for over 45 years. His book is entitled Full Moon Messages from the Pleiadians, Introduction to a New Way of Living Life. His website, yogavisionaries.com. Lou, thanks so much for joining us on Mission Evolution.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
So you have some interesting things to share with our audience. Let's start out with, how did you first become interested in spirituality and the evolution of humanity?
Well, I got initiated to transcendental meditation in August of 1978. And so I've never stopped meditating twice a day. So it's been 45 years. Started when I was 20 years old. Now I'm going to be 66 years old in March. And that kind of expanded my awareness so much in a very short period. Within the first couple of weeks of meditation, tears rolling down my face of this bliss, this intense feeling of being expanded rather than contracted, almost as if the individual Lou is getting lost in some huge experience of bliss and silence. So because the experience was so profound, I was able to continue on based on the experience more than anything else. It's like anything else that you enjoy in life. If you feel like it's an enjoyable experience, you kind of want to repeat it. We get addicted to, different experiences that are very enjoyable. So, and then things evolved over time. And I started to get intuitive impressions since 1984. And then I got to the point where there was so much information flooding through me that I started writing it down. On a full moon, this was pretty much around 2007. And then I came out with my first edition of the Kindle book around 2009. And so that's how that has evolved. Everything from astrology to my creative abilities of music, it's all based on the idea that my creative intelligence has been enlivened through the process of meditation.
I've talked to a lot of people that meditate, and everybody gets kind of like varying results. What do you attribute to your state of bliss and the profound experiences you've had while meditating?
Well, so, you know, a leader in meditation told me, an audience I was in a long time ago, he said, you know, some people start meditation and some people are like fertile soil and some are like hard cement. So depending on the development of the person and how long they've been, you know, a lot of people don't believe in reincarnation in the West, but reincarnation is a big part of the Eastern philosophy, even though Jesus Christ did teach reincarnation, although we won't get into that. Um, Basically, if you've been working on yourself for a long time, many lifetimes, you will have a fertile field of creative intelligence. So when you start meditating, they give you that mantra. I teach this in inner grace meditation, but we give you a mantra, a meaningless sound, and it goes in. It's like a seed. Bija mantra. Bija means seed. So it's a short sound that goes when you repeat it in the mind. If the consciousness is very fertile, that seed is going to sprout right away.
So
Okay.
basically, according to our gifts and according to our limitations.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say you've received information from intergalactic beings. How did this first come to pass?
Well, you know, I got my first reading, channel reading from a guy named Michael L. Legion. He was connected with Lord Ashtar and the Ashtar Command. This was when I was 26 years old. So that was 40 years ago.
Now, let
Um,
me back you up. Is this person known to anyone else?
yeah, he is. I think he's known around. He has written books also. He's written a couple of books. Sister Tuella is the clearest channel of Lord Ashtar and the Ashtar Command.
So now,
Based,
now let's
go ahead.
back up again.
Yeah, sure.
Are
Go ahead.
we talking about human beings writing books on Earth, or are we talking about intergalactic
We're talking about
information?
both because they don't see the separation and the connection from being here in a physical body, okay, three-dimensional physical flesh body, we're flesh, to the more etheric, more lovelier realms. This picture of Ayin can give you an idea. This is from the artist Entre Below,
Okay.
and you can see how etheric and light beings they are. Okay, this is in the upper dimensions. Lose you? Oh. So I thought I lost you. Are we still connected?
We
Okay, we're still connected, right?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, you have this connection with the other dimensions. You evolve. Okay. So this is a process of evolution. That when you get into a more evolved state of mind, more refined, you can communicate with others. But a
Now,
lot of
now
this.
let's
Go ahead. Go
let's
ahead.
back up again.
Yep.
What others?
Uh, well, you have different dimensions. So here we have the third dimension. Then you have the fourth dimension, which I explain in my Kindle book. The fourth dimension is the astral plane, and it's kind of like a holding area. It's not really an area that you evolve into, but it's a waiting area to come back and reincarnate here. Okay. The fifth dimension and the sixth dimension are where the volunteers come from. Now, the volunteers are souls that have completed most of their lessons, if not all of them, here on planet Earth. And they decided to volunteer to come back to help and inspire humanity to get out of their problems that they're having here. Okay. So some souls, some people have the ability to connect with those fifth and sixth dimensions, and seventh dimension, where the ascended masters are in the seventh dimension.
So where did you get the information about the dimensions? I mean, it's spoken about often, but everybody seems to have a different take.
You know, I visited respectable readers, psychics, and channelers who mostly, there was a few of them that channeled seventh dimensional teachers, which is very rare.
Now we're talking about human psychics at this point.
Right, human psychics.
Okay.
Yes, human channelers, and then their voice changes and the voice comes through, and et cetera, and they have different. Some of them aren't even available anymore. They passed on. Almost all the ones that I got the readings from, and that's where in my Kindle book 40% of the information is from all of my learnings, basically in stuff that I've learned along the way, and also through channel information. The other 60% is me asking questions to Aim about practical things in life, like what's the economy going to be like? That's what's the new economy going to look like after UFO contact? So UFO contact has been there. The timing on this, as you know, the future is always in motion. So
Okay,
people,
so again,
go
we
ahead.
have to back up. How did we get
Sure.
from dimensions to UFO contact? You lost me there.
Well, because higher dimensions is where they're at. The UFOs have a higher technology, and when we get into this technology in the future, you'll be able to take a trip from here, like say in the United States. I would be able to go to Italy within 3 minutes.
Okay,
So
now
go ahead.
where did you get this information?
This is mostly from my own intuitive information, and also stuff that I've read, on the higher technologies of UFOs. There's been different authors that have talked about the different, that they're going very fast. In the higher dimensions, vibrations are much faster. I'm trying to get my hands in here. I'm used to my computer screens are much wider. And when vibration moves much more quickly, we're very sluggish energy here on planet Earth, third dimension. So the energy is, hey man, what's going on? Pot's legal now. Let's go get it. It's very sluggish. It's not as high. So when you get up there and you're vibrating higher, technology tends to move a lot more. Life moves and evolves much more quickly. If they want to fulfill it, go ahead.
Aren't all those frequencies available on the planet? It's just a matter of tuning into them.
Well, I think even Einstein said that dimensions coincide within dimensions. Okay.
So it's not just planet Earth being slow moving. It's our perceptions being slow moving.
I don't know about that. I mean, they're driving down a highway of 500 miles an hour and we're going 25 miles an hour. So we're going a lot slower because the souls that are here cannot handle that kind of a high. If the souls had that kind of high vibratory, they would have a psychological, emotional fallout, and they would not be able to exist.
Well, it's time for us to take a little station break. Lewis and I will return very shortly, so don't go away. This is Mission Evolution, www.missionevolution.org. Is anybody out there? With us this hour discussing information he believes is from intergalactic sources is Thomas Valentino. His website, yogavisionaries.com. Lewis, we need to back up a little bit because somehow we went from talking about multi-dimensions to outer space or UFOs. So try to clarify that for us a little bit. Are we talking about dimensional beings or are we talking about extraterrestrial beings?
They're both the same. Extraterrestrial would mean that they come from a higher dimension, and some of them have volunteered and they're here on this planet, such as me. A lot of, so I don't know if that answers your question, but it is all connected. There's no separation. Only when the mind is in a state of separation of time and space do we see things as being separate. But it's all a part of the same puzzle, if you will, of life.
So the ones that you're speaking to that are, I don't even want to say off planet because it might be on planet, but not in human form. Okay. The ones that you've been speaking to that are not in human form, have other humans made contact with the same entities?
Yes.
How many? How's
I
that show up?
I don't know how many. There's several million light workers on the planet. So, you do have, out of the 7 million, maybe 10% that are really connected with other dimensions other than the 3D dimension that we presently live in.
So is there extraterrestrials available in the 3D dimension that we live in? Like we're talking about Roswell. And
yes, I am extraterrestrial. I am. And you are too, even though you might, And so we have this human appearing. The problem with Hollywood is they want to glamorize, the extraterrestrial experiences. So they tend to, they'll get people to get into a movie theater and make money and pay for the production of the film. So the human appearing are more evolved, and they're the ones that are left out most of the time. Lord Ashtar is very human appearing. He has never been on planet Earth, according to the things that I've read about him.
Okay, so you're reading these from books that have been written by human beings incarnate on the planet now.
That's correct. There's
Okay.
books that I've read. Yeah.
Where are they getting their information?
Well, they're getting it from connecting to those higher dimensions that these other extraterrestrials are on. Very human appearing and very, as above, so below, they
So
say.
you talked about the number of beings or avatars, if you will, that are here on the planet but are really extraterrestrial.
Now, they're not avatars, that's for sure.
where do you get that? Where do you get that number? How did you get that number?
I gotten that through readings. I read things a lot, so I have read up on spiritual books and stuff that deal with that. Yeah, so that's pretty much where I go. My work is more about specifics about what would happen to planet Earth after UFO contact.
Okay, now let's clarify this one. We're talking UFO contact. Are we talking interdimensional, or are we talking physical 3D reality UFO contact?
It's all the physical 3D is interdimensional. It's not as located in one area. That's why I was saying dimensions coincide within dimensions.
Okay, I think the point I'm trying to make is how does it appear to people in 3D reality that aren't extraterrestrial?
Well, they've already, there's been plenty of UFO sightings all over the planet, all in every country. So they're experiencing it by seeing a physical object. It is physical. They can lower the vibration and make the ship more physical. And higher up, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, all the way up, they can actually be more etheric, even though it's physical. It's etheric, so it's a little bit more. It's softer energy. Again, that. That's a different looking body that I just showed you than the one that we have here. Ours is it's more fleshy. Etheric is more light. It's more light body. They don't have, according to my own channeled information now. Okay, this is me now. They do not have the organs that we have. We have quite an industrial process going on in our physiology when we eat. It's got to go down. It's got to get in the stomach. Then it's got to go through the liver. The liver's got to filter the bad stuff, and then it has to be excreted in some way. They don't have all that there. They don't have. I'm talking about the 6th dimension and the information that I'm getting.
One of the things that's kind of hallmark of the interdimensional communication, interdimensional information, is the use of metaphor to get the idea across to the mental, our limited mentality of things that are more ethereal. Okay, how do you know that what they're telling you is literal or metaphorical? How do you know you're not misinterpreting this?
And you're my own personal channeling the information or information
yes,
from
your
others?
Own personal.
Because I've been meditating for 45 years. And if you're not meditating, then you're in waking, dreaming, sleeping. You're kind of caught in this loop of waking, dreaming, and sleeping states of consciousness, and you don't evolve. This is the process of evolution for human consciousness, is to get into other areas. Of course, psychiatrists say we only use about 15% at the most of the neurophysiology of the brain. So you have to be aware. You have to develop yourself.
Yeah, I think that number has been debunked lately, but go ahead. I understand it.
Is it smaller? Is it less?
No,
I mean, we're still having wars, so I'm assuming we haven't grown that much in the last, at least recorded history that we have. It seems like we're always fighting every 30 years and some new war,
Well, the other question I have for you is the books that you're reading. I've read different New Age books, if you will, and they don't always, in fact, they rarely agree. One will say these are the chakras. Another one will say these are the chakras. One says these chakras do this. Another says these chakras do that. There's no agreement among them. So how do you know what you're reading is factual?
Well, we're babies. We're just learning again. You know, a lot of the spiritual traditions and cultures were wiped out a long time ago, 30,000 years ago. So we have to go. It's like astrology. That's an excellent example. You know, astrologers don't agree. As a matter of fact, sidereal astrology in India, as opposed to tropical astrology in the West. I'm a Pisces. You know, in Western astrology, in Eastern astrology, I'm an Aquarius.
But
24
if
degrees. So
right, if we don't
why
agree,
doesn't everything make any sense? Is because the knowledge got destroyed so much. A lot
yeah,
of this,
and again,
you know,
my
and
question
we're in
is,
the baby state of reviving it, you know.
these people are also say that they're channeling the information. So how can
And
you
there's a lot of
tell?
agreement too, by the way. It's not
Yes,
just
I understand that, but there's a
there is a
lot
lot
of
of I
disagreements.
don't want your audience to think that it's just all screwed up here. We don't want to be as screwed up as our political leaders are right now, and want the listeners to think that we don't have there is agreement.
So let's move into the people or the beings that you're conversing with when you're doing your personal channeling.
Well, Aim is the one being that I'm conversing with. He's my
Okay.
soul twin brother. My soul twin, meaning he's very intimate with me. I'm not, it's not as separated as I just have to tune in and that's it. He's with me. So he is a part of me, you
So
know.
how do you tune in? Do you have to go into formal meditation like you were, or how
I
do you
do a
tune
little
in?
bit, but mostly automatic writing. You know,
Okay.
I'm at the typewriter and wow, I ask a question and then zoom and then it just flows and I get answers that way.
How can you tell they're coming from him and not? It is a him, yes.
Yeah,
Okay. How
it's
can
that's a great question. I'd love
how can
to
you tell it's
elaborate on that.
how can you tell it's coming from him and not just from you and your imagination?
It's very interesting too because a lot of times when I try to explain what I've actually typed up, I don't do as good of a job. I don't. It's not as clear. It's not as smooth flowing. The information is. It's an altered state of consciousness where you're kind of in between a zone area where you're in a gap area where you're allowing yourself to get information from a higher dimension, you know, that a culture that is very different than our culture.
So
You know,
again, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly out there. Okay.
yes.
How can you be sure that you're getting reliable information from somebody that's uh, benevolent rather than malevolent?
Well, you know, that's a great question, really is. And I think that the answer to that is we have to base these things on joy. Does this information bring more joy into people's lives? If it's not benevolent and it's demonic or whatever behavior, lower astral entities, you're going to feel like, you know, doing something very awful to somebody else or yourself. And so, any voices that you're hearing that are uh, encouraging someone to be violent or have erratic behaviors, suicidal behavior, that needs to be really someone professional needs to help them. You know,
Speaking of hearing voices, when you first started channeling and getting your own information from outside sources, did you doubt your sanity?
no, I didn't doubt my sanity. I just wanted to know whether I had to be, you know, it took years before I trusted that maybe I should start writing these things down. You know, what I was getting in my head for years.
Do you
And
retain if you don't write it down?
yeah, you know, it's like a loop. It keeps a lot of information, just the same stuff keeps coming up. And that's what drives me crazy is like, okay, am I supposed to be writing this down? That's when I came to the point of, yeah, maybe it would be best for you to sit down at the computer and write it down. They wanted me to do the writings on a full moon because the full moon is so full, it activates the subconscious area a lot more. So you get clearer information and more information on a full moon than you would on a new moon, you know, or a half moon.
So it sounds like these transmissions are coming through in English.
Yes, yeah, that's all I know. They're able to, you know, I'm able to, yeah, have a conversation in English. Yes, that's correct.
So if I'm German and I'm not English speaking, it would come through in German.
Yes, probably would. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. And language is an interesting thing too because some claim that Sanskrit is the original language, and all the other languages are derivatives of Sanskrit. And when they started to write Sanskrit down was when, according to the information that I have in India, when the consciousness was getting diminished, okay, where they weren't using their full potential of the brain and the memory, when the memory started getting lost, because before that, written language, it was telepathic. Okay, all conversations were telepathic. But then when they started losing their ability to remember
Well, Lou, we're going to have to leave this as a cliffhanger because it's time for another station break.